What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl, it's Leanne. We are here with the Heart-Based Community podcast series number 9. And we have our divine friend, Gagan Bhathal. Bhathal.
Yes.
Last name, say it again, Bhathal.
Uh, Bhathal. It's
Bhathal.
the easy way to say it.
I'm still learning Hindi and I'm still have a lot to learn in pronouncing when I read, I read names differently. So I apologize. Sometimes I say it right, sometimes I don't, but I'm going to be learning more. So friends that are watching, and the more that we're creating these amazing podcasts, we have an opportunity to reach as many people as we can right now. And our little contribution and our growth, we grow, you grow. We continue to learn. So Gagan, give me a little bit of updates on what you know what's going on with Sadguru and Save the Soil project from the last time we chat.
Okay, so the journey's been ongoing. It's on fire. There's a lot of people backing this movement, and it's picking up more and more momentum every single day. I also wanted to say it's not an easy journey. Sadhguru makes it look like it's really easy. He rides for 18 hours, and as soon as he gets off the bike, he's on the stage talking to people. No breaks. But it's tough. You should see his shoes like all worn out from hitting the gears on his motorcycle. It's been really cold. So it's very, very tough, and his bike is very heavy. It's like 600 kilograms.
Wow.
It's meant for highway driving, but he's also driving it in the city. So it's not easy, but it's going, and he's not stopping. The volunteers sometimes want him to stop and take a break, but he's not stopping. So it's really good. People, so many more volunteers are coming on board every day to help support this movement. And I actually wanted to say is that there's more Earth Buddies, which are non-Isha volunteers than there are Isha volunteers. So it's not just the Isha Foundation, just like yourself and other people, they're into this. They're volunteering. We're calling them Earth Buddies.
Okay, I'm an Earth Buddy.
You're an Earth Buddy. Yeah.
I have saved the bees on here, so I'm definitely an Earth Buddy.
Yeah, definitely. So, and if anyone listening, if you want to be an Earth Buddy and help with this movement, simply just go to savesoil.org, and you can sign up to be an Earth Buddy and receive updates, and you receive a lot of helpful information there as to what to do, like media posts and all that stuff. There's a whole
like the hashtags and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's all there. The hashtags are there. All the media links are there. Like if you want to download any flyers and tidbits of information, they're all there. Yeah, so
he's been traveling. He's having a hard time with the weather, but I think it's a good thing to, while we get into talking about some of the other aspects of where we can link people for the soil, how to help the soil, or some things like that I was telling you about. But I think it's important to understand the human body, even with Sadhguru having his own natural enlightenment at a young age, and having the ability to consciously and energetically be imbibed with consciousness that's pulling him through this, that's giving him momentum from his inner insights and his inner connection with source and the void to pull through this amount of service, right? And I think reflectively, I think it's good to note, like, we all go through that, like myself personally too, raising children, raising a family consciously. You go through your enlightenment moments, you have your internal light that's lit on, but you are faced with different aspects of this life itself. So gratitude to you for honoring that part of him being a master, you being his servant as a friend. And I'd like to highlight something I learned about Sadhguru yesterday, which I really feel friends and buddies and Earth Buddies and anybody that really knows they're being called to help Earth, it's a collective thing that's happening. And personally, my collective aspect was coming back into myself and wanting to serve Mother Gaia, having some reconnection with, Shiva and these things. But then knowing what is Mother Earth calling us for is like, we know where the Earth has a big issue right now. And then you look at this beautiful being, Sadguru, who's like coming out and saying, well, I want to do something about it. And so being an earth buddy, it doesn't need us to think too much, but the volunteer power that's happened for him, it's like an energy of the void of creation is doing that naturally for him. So the volunteers show up, and then there's no argument because it's a volunteer. Like, I love the concept of the business where we're all coming in, we come to work and like, I need to be paid, or we go through this mental aspect of what it is to work and what it is to build a business and what it is to be competitive and what it is to do all this la 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 la. But then you look at the business that he's doing it with a higher purpose, and the volunteers come in. There doesn't need to be an argument, and there's a beautiful flow with nature naturally.
Mm-hmm. And volunteering itself is a huge sadhana on its own. You know, it's bhakti, and it's I don't know how to say it, but it's enlightening. You know, it's another path to go. You know, your selfless service. You know, where it's not about you. You know, it's no longer about you. It's about the all, the everything. You know, it's amazing. Sadhguru talks about how volunteering can take you, you know, very far on the spiritual journey.
It's interesting because I've seen both. Like, I was really deeply reflecting this, and Save the Soil, I want to stay on the topic with it, but I want to give an insight because you talked about bhakti, and I want to give insight to why come back to bhakti. Because when you look at even the things that I create, like my business, or I look at the contribution through my creativity, or who am I, no matter what, I can continue to come out. When I reach a goal, and it's always what's next. And so, you know, you learn this lesson that while being playful and being celebrative and being loving and compassionate, we can truly make a change by realizing our volunteer is every day to each other in our service, in the exchange of energy, in the exchange of contribution, and then what the need is every day when we wake up. Because the wake up call was for Sadhguru for this project, came from another wake up call from the tree project, and then the soil, and then like, what's next, right? So we have to consider that our devotional service is first doing our self-work, our inner engineering, and whatever form that is for each individual, their prayer, their meditation, their whatever that is. But ideally, I really like the fact that with this Save the Soil project, the earth buddies are not just from that one place of being his students.
No. It's everywhere. It's everyone. You know, and you know how like soil brings everyone together. This is another way that everyone is coming together, irrespective of whatever your beliefs are, your religion, you know, your caste, anything. It's way beyond that. So it's a really I don't know, like a complete circle, you know, of coming back to the oneness.
I love it. I know that you're doing so many wonderful things to serve Isha, and then you're doing the volunteer work, and you had your own story, which we talked about before. Why don't we go into a little bit about what your understanding is about how we can help the soil, maybe with the government things or the knowledge that you have there that you've been sharing, or update us on some of the things that you are interacting with from Tennessee or back and forth. You know, give us some feedback.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is to get our political parties involved so that we can work on policies. And the policies are going to, there's recommendations that Isha has already made, depending on which region you're in, and the history of what's been going on, like in terms of farming in those regions. So in those cases, like the recommendations have been made, but like aside from that, if somebody wants to do something right now, like what can they do? Like let's say if you have your own garden in your house, the soil is most likely going to be pretty healthy. But some of the ways that you can make it healthier is by making sure that you're not using things like pesticides and buying fertilizer from the store and putting that into the soil, because that's actually killing um, a lot of the organic content that's supposed to be there and that helps give the nutrition to the food. Best is to use compost,
Mm,
compost, and mix that in with your soil. And if you feel like it needs more of a boost, then it's time to get some manure.
mm,
You know, get that, mix that in your soil, and try not to leave the soil bare. Once the season is over, make sure that there's some sort of vegetation or some way that there's some sort of a cover there, so that the sun's not hitting it directly and just drying everything out.
the nutrients.
um yeah, like
Mm,
even if there's like a little bit of grass growing in your garden, let it
mm,
grow and
mm,
let it be there, because that's actually helping the soil.
mm,
And for those that have like farms,
mm,
um, some similar things, what you want to do is you want to reduce the non-organic inputs like the fertilizers, the pesticides, and instead use animal waste like manure.
mm,
And the other thing is, like, once the crops have grown, you've harvested it, whatever the waste that's left, don't take that out. Put that back into the soil.
mm,
Let those nutrients go back in. That really helps nourish it. Um, there definitely needs to be some sort of crop cover, by either planting trees or having some sort of vegetation growing, so that once the harvest is done, the land is no longer bare. It needs to have some sort of crop cover.
mhm,
That really keeps the organic content going. It's also important to do crop rotation, and it's also important to avoid plowing. What happens when you're plowing is the machines are going at it, they're digging pretty deep, and it's turning the soil inside out. Now, all the organic matter that's in there, all the bacterias and the all that, what's
the
happening is
bugs and stuff.
all the bugs and everything,
Yeah.
they're you're taking the soil and you're turning it inside out, and you're letting it to expose, and that's killing them off.
Mm,
So unless it's really necessary to plow, don't plow.
mm,
um a lot of I'm seeing more and more practices back home, because my parents have a farm, and they're stepping away from plowing now as well
mhm,
too, and they're seeing that they're getting a lot more return. There's way more crop growing
mm,
than it used to.
mhm,
And the the other thing is, we've gone to having a lot of machines on the farm, which is okay, but also add some animals on
mm,
there. That will really help as well too. Always good to have manure,
mm,
and the animals can have a space for their own, where they can feed themselves and stuff. At the end of the day, even the space that's left for the animals, but the animals being there, that's going to help your soil. You're going to have a more more return anyways.
mm. Amazing. So yeah, that can be really great information. Now we want to think about the political aspect. Is Sadhguru wants to reach more government bodies because of the government owning so much of the land and the crops and making those changes. Any updates on that, you think, or that you know about?
Yeah, it's not that the government is owning the lands. What it is, like, what we've seen is the highest rates of suicide is in the farming industry.
Mm,
And that's not just, in India it's pretty high, but that's also true for places in Europe and USA.
mm,
They're extremely high compared to any other profession. So what we're seeing is that they're not making the money. It's not economically viable. So for asking the farmers to go ahead and make these changes, it's a very difficult thing for them to do.
mhm,
For some of them maybe it's okay, but for a lot of them it's a difficult thing.
mm,
So what we want is we want there to be some policies that are put into place where, some sort of subsidy or some sort of support is going to go out to these farmers so that they can make these changes. And the change we know it cannot happen overnight. Like, for example, if you want to plant trees, it's going to be a few years. So they need few years of support. But after that, the farmers, their incomes will go up. Like in South India, we're seeing the income is going up for anywhere from 3 times to 10 times the amount of income that they used to make before the farmers started making these changes. So these are the type of things that really need to happen
from the government perspective. And that has to become, we're in Canada, what do you think is more the Green Party has to stand for that, or they're doing a little bit more about earth, right?
Every party has to stand for that. So people need to make this into like a political issue that if you're not supporting this, we're not voting for you. And we're seeing like some volunteers, I know I've heard of them, that they went onto social media, and one of the political parties, they posted on there and be like, hey, if you're not supporting not necessarily Save Soil, but if you're not supporting the health of the soil in general, like we're probably not going to vote for you. And then they reached out to learn more. And then now that they're learning more about it, they're more involved, and they want to make those policy changes. And the political parties are usually in power for 4 or 5 years before another election has come. So normally the political parties are not interested in long-term solutions. It's short-term solutions, but we have to tell them that no, we want long-term solutions. We don't want any famines happening anytime soon. These are our the soil belongs to our children and grandchildren and great grandchildren. We want to leave this for them. We don't want them to be in a spot where finding food is going to be tough. If these changes are not going to happen, what's going to happen is we're going to see massive migration, because people are going to go to where the food is. There's no food in their area. So their studies are showing that up to 3.5 billion people will migrate for simply food and water.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that. And unfortunately, the mindsets of people, but I feel consciously, people that are watching this, if you want to be an earth buddy, you got to also be an earth buddy to yourself and your own consciousness. I encourage everybody always to find that place where they can connect to their consciousness, and they can stop and just watch their breath, get more silent, work with aromatherapy. Gagan's got an amazing aromatherapy line too, that can always reach out to him, or even doing some yoga with me. The inner journey is also part of the balance of how we're going to be the change that we want to see in each other based on the generations of our separation as humans. And I just want to make sure that we highlight more on things like this, because it's essential for all of us to make some contribution every day. And that's what I'm here for. And that's why I really appreciate having the chance for Gagan to show up and give us some more updates with Sadguru. And I really feel everybody can check out Isha. And like, I've seen the talks with Sadguru, and he's very profoundly well-versed and has common sense work and methodologies for you to go to do your inner engineering so that you can be a better volunteer with your best possible version and your higher self. So anything else you want to wrap up with this, Gagandeep? Is there anything else that you feel we need to reach people with in thoughts or websites or links, or how to keep ourselves updated?
Yeah, everything is there on savesoil.org. So I recommend everyone to go there, check it out, learn more about the soil, learn more about the movement, and become an earth buddy. I also just wanted to mention that I just came back from Tennessee. So Isha has an ashram there, and it is amazing. I went on a hike. We went on a barefoot hike, and it was so nice. You can tell the difference in the soil. Like the soil there was so rich. It was awesome. So it's a great way to connect with the earth. And if you're just looking for some place to go to where you don't have to do anything and just collect this, or be with the energy that's there, because there's consecrated forms that are there. Just be there. It's amazing. It's nice. I came back really
Transformational place. That's
rejuvenated.
you said that's in Tennessee, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So any viewers that are out in America, check it out, look it up. I think you can also reach out to us. We're great humans. We're gonna be working together more. We're just getting an opportunity to really use our time as much as we can, because we're both really two busy parents and two busy volunteers, to get a message out. And the more that we're all contributing, even if it's 10 to 50 to 1,000 to 10,000, the message is important. This moment is important. If it's finding you, please click like, click share, and get involved. With that being said, Gagan, it's so good to be with you again, my brother. And be well, be good to yourself, and see you soon.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Namaste.
Namaste.